Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship. Sorry that we're 8 minutes late, we're just waiting for the service to come up. As you can see on track at the moment, they have 16 minutes of official qualifying to go, and then we're going to be getting into the race, which will be a 150 kilometre sprint or 24 laps around here at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. I'll be joined very shortly by Daniel Leet. He's having a few hardware issues tonight, but we're hoping he's going to get those sorted out, and he'll be up here in the comm box with us very, very shortly. If we have a look at the field, we have a total of 59 drivers lining up here for tonight's race. There's a total of 67 drivers trying to make the top split tonight, so I think 60 made it into here. So during unofficial qualifying, the unofficial fastest time in the split I was watching was Dane Warren. He was the only one in the high 203s, and the rest of them were in the low 204s, the fast ones. I think Ian Ford set the second fastest time, so we'll definitely keep an eye on Ian, and just seeing what's going on out there. So you can see there, Fozan El Nabi, he's currently sitting in provisional pole, and his fastest time, a 2:04.228, as he pulls it over to the side. We've also got Josh Rogers out here tonight, and he's seated in the first position. His best time, a 2:03.987, but as I said, keep an eye out for Dane Warren. He's extremely quick around here, and as we see Josh Rogers there losing it going up the hill into the wall, and the drivers won't want to see that because they've only got 15 minutes to set their fastest time, and it's going to definitely be very competitive up the front. But of course, your commentary team tonight, folks, is Daniel Leet and myself, Bernie Weemers. Welcome back, Daniel. How's the hardware going, mate?
Yeah, good evening, Bernie, and viewers. Yeah, getting there slowly. Seem to have got in, so that's a good start. So things are looking up. We're just getting ready, and I think we're going to be in for a really good race tonight.
Oh, we're going to be in for a ripper of a race, and I tell you what, whenever we go to Mount Panorama, everyone comes out, don't they, to play, and there's no exception again tonight. 60 in this server, and the guys are going to be itching to go after having a 1 week layoff.
Yeah, definitely, and if anything's to go by from last time we were here, which obviously was an enduro last season, I mean, we had a great scrap to finish off the race between Dane Warren and I believe it was Ian Ford at the time, so I'm expecting those two are going to be very, very close together, but the times this time around, even though it's a sprint round, are very, very competitive, so I think you might find we possibly could get a bit of a surprise turn up for the win on this one.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? But it'd be great to have a surprise win because it'd be very exciting. And we can see now Ian Ford is coming through to finish his lap. He's already in the 209s as a car spins in front of him. And this is going to be the problem, isn't it, Daniel? With so many cars on track, they're going to have to really have a little bit of luck on their side to get a clean lap around here. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, anyone who looks at it from the outside would go, it's a big circuit. Yes, you've got 60 cars, but there's plenty of room for them to get around. But you have one car that spins either as you're getting onto the front straight or up in the elbow or through the cutting. I mean, that pretty much ruins your entire lap, and you've got to pull it back around, reset, and hope you can get a clean win in after that.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, and at the moment that's what Ian is trying to do, isn't he? He's coming up the mountain. He's got a slower car coming up. They get out of the way. That's Marty Carroll, I think. And at the moment, 39 seconds as he comes up to the cutting and starts the climb up the hill.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little bit tail happy, that car of Ian's. It seemed to be grabbing the brakes a little on entrance, so he's not probably as settled as he would have liked through the cutting, but certainly making the most of it now.
And as he comes across the top up towards Skyline now, he's 103. Halfway through, so he's got a minute to get to the bottom, and we'll see how he goes. I'm expecting him to at least be in the 204s because his previous best time 204.512. His target is a 203.987.
Yeah, and he's got quite clear track in front of him. I think just up in front is Henry King, but Henry might give him a little bit of a toe down on the back straight, and I think he may just step aside. So Ian, with that bit of a draft coming down Conrod, I mean, he's certainly going to be in nice position to hopefully put that car up on top at the end of this session.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? And here he comes now, Ian Ford coming down through the chase, 149, 150. It's got 8 seconds, 10 seconds to get to the end here. And if he does this, I think this will be the first time he's in the 203s tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what some of these guys can do in the cars. I mean, he's obviously had the issues the lap prior, comes out and then sets a hell of a lap on the next time round. So he's very, very consistent in these cars, isn't he?
Oh, certainly is, and he did a 204.302, but it still wasn't fast enough to bring him up to third on the grid. So at the moment, your top 5, folks, is Josh Rogers, a 203.987. Then we've got Foz and Al Nabi, a 204.228 in second. Marlon McMullen, 204.260, followed by Ian Ford, 204.302. Daniel Williams, he rounds out your top 5 with a 204.899.
So we're just inside a second currently for the top 5. So for a place of this size and how close it is around the top of the mountain, pretty decent times all in all. But even to the guys inside the top 10, you're only looking at 1.2 seconds behind. So pretty easy to see any one of these guys definitely towards the pointy end at the end of this race.
Yeah, well, Bathurst normally brings out the dramas, and it won't be any exception tonight. You can see at the moment Matt Stratford, he is our points leader, sitting in 15th at the moment as he goes across the top of the mountain. And while he's doing that, Daniel, let's have a look at our point score, and we'll just go through the top 10 there. So looking at our point score, Matt Stratford comes in with a total of 780 points. He's 60 points clear of Brady Mayers for Progression Racing Australia. Then we've got Henry King. Henry sitting in third at the moment in the Drivers' Championship, 150 points behind. So he'll be looking for a fantastic finish tonight. Had a word with him before the broadcast, Daniel, and Henry was aiming for the top 10 tonight. And I reckon he'll do it too. We've got Ian Ford sitting in fourth on points. He's 200 down at the moment from Matt Stratford, so a bit of work for him to do there. But Marlon McMullen is only 10 points behind him, and so is Thomas Hinds, who's currently sitting in sixth position. Then Dane Warren, 237 points down, but he's been really quick for the last couple of race meetings, hasn't he?
Well, he has. I mean, he's got 2 wins. So between himself and Marlon McMullen, I mean, they've taken the 3 wins so far this season, but still finds himself, like I say, 237 behind. But you compare that to someone like Ian Ford, who's only competed the 1 event so far and is still only 200 points down off the lead. So while wins are good, if you do end up with a very bad one relative to your competitors, obviously you're going to fall a little bit further back. But a couple of the other guys too to probably keep a good eye out for will be Jamie McKnight, who's currently in 8th, 255, so pretty close to Dane as far as points positions go, and depending obviously how this race goes, there may be a slight switch there. Paul Talonjack, is 281 points down from the lead, and then 10th we've got Jordan Ross, so 295, so just under 300 points for our top 10. It's a pretty even spread, and anyone who has a bad race could be looking to slowly fall down that leaderboard if they're not too careful.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just trying to get to the... there we go. And it's a pretty amazing prize that Pagnion's put up, haven't they? These guys are in with the chance of winning a next level racing F1 GT, Formula 1 and GT Simulator, valued at about $700, and you can see the bad boy there on the screen, folks, and this is really exciting.
Yeah, it's a nice looking bit of kit for, especially for any of the guys who love their Formula One or open wheel cockpit cars. It's very low slung. You'd feel really comfortable now. I'm sure a few guys would probably sleep in that if they had the chance. But yeah, it's great to see the likes of Pagnian getting on board with this one and helping out the winners and looking after the guys obviously who are putting in the amount of time they do to give us a good show in the series.
It certainly is, and I really like the way they've done it, as in each you get to complete 10 rounds in the season. That's 10 entries. You have to be completed classified as a finisher to get one entry. Driver with the lowest incident count each race, they get another entry, and then of course we've got driver of the day by us, no pressure there. They get 2 entries for that, so we'll definitely have to get on board tonight and pick driver of the day. I'm actually going to just let you pick it, and I'll just sit on the fence. So it's really, really unique, isn't it, the way they're running this competition?
It is, and I mean we've seen some other series that have done similar type prizes, but not to the extent that we're getting with Pagnian for this one. So congratulations to Pagnian for stepping up and getting on board and looking after the drivers and supporting a great series for this event.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome to have that sort of a prize on offer for this series, and I tell you what, this series has exploded this season. We're getting a huge turnout every round, and the guys are absolutely loving it, and I really like the way this series is put together. It's extremely fair. I love the random safety cars element that comes into it. It just makes for great racing.
Yeah, it certainly does, and that's something we should probably mention too. I'm not sure if you've already mentioned it. There will be a random safety car for tonight's event, and similar to what we saw for the endurance round, it's going to come down to tyre management. So do the guys that are running tonight, do they look to go the long stint for the opening start of the race, come in towards the end, maybe take that gamble of where the safety car is but finish up on fresh tyres and see them blaze through the field at the end?
Yeah, and it's we've seen before, haven't we, with that safety car, some guys that just push it too far, stay out, they get burnt bad. So it's going to be interesting to see how they all approach it tonight, whether they come in as soon as they can or whether they try to push the limits. We can see Dane Warren out here at the moment, Daniel. He's starting another fast lap. His previous fastest was a 2:04.503. So in practice he was in the high 2:03s. Tonight he's in the low mid 2:04s with a bit of work to do.
Yeah, and that's one thing I didn't have a look at in the practice servers that were up as to what the track temperature is, and it's not too bad. I mean, 27 degrees on track tonight is quite comfortable for the guys running, and it looks like you got a bit balked with a few lazy cars on the road and one of the Pagnian cars sideways there. But I think tonight the guys should have pretty decent racing conditions all around.
Yeah, so at the moment out there it's mostly cloudy, 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not the hottest we've seen, but the temperatures are starting to get up there.
Yeah, they are, and that's something too these guys will need to play with, is if they're looking to do the long opening stint, do they run the tyre pressures a little lower to give themselves that room that it's not going to drop off much sooner than the guys who maybe are going to go a bullet a gate to begin with, pump the tyre pressures up, try and make a break, which we possibly could see mid-pack, and then maybe set the tyres up a little lower for that second stint and try and get them home.
Yeah, it's also a lot of guys I've noticed, you mentioned it earlier, with one of the drivers, there we go again, the 313, just smack on time as he whacks one of the Logitech cars. These cars are extremely loose once again tonight, and we're seeing it quite a bit, these cars losing the back end, and we just saw it just then.
Yeah, it's going to be something they're going to have to be careful. Obviously, you've got a couple of good sections, especially through turn 2 as you make the run up the hill. You're going to have a lot of load on the car. So if you can soften off the rear, you might get a little bit more traction. Obviously, in the car, the guys have got your front and rear roll bars that they can have a play with, so that might be something there for them. But I think tyre pressures are going to be pretty pretty important for the long run. So you may see a couple of little tweaks here and there, but the tyres are going to be the big thing for this one, I think.
Yeah, and I guess if they're going to be tweaking tyre pressures, it's going to be pretty critical that they hopefully have a pit manager down there that can do that for them, and otherwise they're going to have to wait to get on Conrod Straight and do it there. And if you're wondering what we're talking about, folks, the drivers can bring up the we call it like a black box. They can bring it up, adjust the tyre temperatures or pressures, I think, for the next pit stop, and managers can do that as well.
Yeah, so any of the guys that are assisting with spectating, I believe, can do that. Predominantly, you see that a lot in the endurance series. They can have 2 or 3 guys, one looking after the tyres and the other 2 focusing on the driving. But I think we'll probably find these guys will need to set that up before they go out, once they hit the grid, before we see the lights go out.
Okay, so they'll be very busy pretty soon. I know some of the front runners there are probably already doing that, and we can see at the moment Luke Harvey, he's coming down, and with 1:06 to go, he should get hopefully a flying lap in. He's just coming through now on his warm-up lap. He's sitting in 9th position with a 2:05.031. His next target is a 2:04.927, and that's Jake Maloney.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed too tonight with the Evolution Team Australia cars is they have some Fords out there, predominantly a Holden-based team, so it's good to see him giving the Ford a bit of a run tonight.
Yeah, I wonder how Mr. O'Brien's feeling about that. Is he in a Ford? I bet you he's not.
No, I'll have to go down and have a look, but
no, he's in a Holden, mate. Sorry, I stole your thunder.
No, that's quite alright. But it's interesting to see these guys running the 2 different cars. Like I say, predominantly Holden. We've seen them all last season, in the Holden, and plenty of other official races, all Holden. But no, it's good to see him getting on board and giving that Ford a bit of a workout as well.
Yeah, well, it certainly is. An interesting thing about Brenton, he was lined up at one race to drive in a Ford for ERT, and for some reason he was busy that night and he didn't actually make it to the track. So I think they've sort of said, just keep him in the hold and he'll race that.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, I think maybe the beers were a little bit too cold and had him keen to go onto those instead of the Ford.
Yeah, I'd say so. They reckon you run away from pain and run towards pleasure, so being a Holden man, the Ford would probably be a bit painful. Oh, as we see now, Luke Harvey into the wall across the top, and that's going to end his run for 9th position, or for 8th.
Yeah, I'm just having a look just to see if we've got any other guys really putting in a lap, and Matt Stratford's coming across the line here, so he'll finish this lap off, final corner right now.
Yeah, and once he's done that, we'll go through the grid as he throws it across the line, 2:05.799, and not good enough to improve. So I reckon you reckon we should start doing the grid? It's a huge grid.
Yep, let's get it on.
Okay, folks, so here's your grid for tonight. Josh Rogers, he's going to start out of pole position, followed by Fawzan El Nabi in second. Marlon McMullen, he'll start on the second row, and in third, next and right beside him will be Ian Ford. Dane Warren, keep an eye out for him tonight, very quick, starting in fifth, beside Riley Blythe in 6th. In 7th tonight we've got Daniel Williams, and then Jake Maloney will start out of 8th. Luke Harvey, he's starting out of 9th beside Adam Zeitinger in position 10. Out of 11th tonight is Brady Mayers, and rounding out your top 12 is Thomas McMillan.
In 13 we've got Michael Tellenjack. 14th tonight will be Josh Burden. 15th is Sean Thompson. Matt Stratford lining up in 16th. Duran Nakura in 17th, Brennan Jackson in 18th, Dylan Shepherd is 19th, Ryan O'Sullivan rounds out the top 20, and then we've got Jaden McDowell in 21st, Brian Borg in 22nd. Who else have we got? Adam Highland in 23rd, Dave Oliver in 24th, Benjamin Smith in 25th, followed by Pete Sattler, Henry King, Braden Bateman, Brett Laxton and Greg Sharp in 30th.
At a 31st tonight will be Adam Wyborn, and he will be starting next to Brenton O'Brien in 32nd. 33rd tonight, Jaden Board, followed by Gene Fittis. Out of 35th, we'll have David Kinmond, and 36th is Wayne Taylor. Out of 37th tonight, we have Shannon Mason, followed by Brady Whitmore, then Dylan Carroll. He'll start out of 39th beside Luke Page. In 40th or 41st position, we have Matt Clowett, and out of 42nd, we have Simon Pitt.
43rd tonight will be David Millard, followed by Shane Rayner in 44th, Jacob Knight in 45th, Michael Bales in 46th, Phil Jones in 47th, Sean Chappell in 48th, Mark Samuel in 49th, followed by Dale Hockey in 50th. And for the last few cars, we've got Daniel Stevens in 51st, followed by Tony Lynch, series organiser Nick Heusler in 53rd, Kyle Stokes, Simon Mazzomo, Scott Stephen, Paul Tajvara, and the guys who didn't set a lap in this session were Craig Jones and Jason Bentz.
So they will probably start at the back of the field, and I tell you what, I don't think I'd want to be starting at the back of the field tonight.
No, you're a long way from the action. They're back down around the Dunlop Bridge there, so a fair way to come from, and they're not going to have the luxury of seeing the lights either.
Yeah, well, you look at some of them, we can see there, Jordan McDonald, he's starting down at Murray's, but some of these guys, look at them right up towards the bridge, just past the Chase. So you're right, they're not going to see the lights, and I guess this is... I guess being iRacing, they will be able to see the little lights come up on their screen at least.
Yeah, well, I have the luxury of that, but it's still a recipe for disaster seeing them this far back. So hopefully everyone gets away nice and cleanly and not too many incidents.
Yeah, and I guess being a sprint race, if there is a big incident, which it's highly likely there will be, then the safety car normally comes out around about lap 2, lap 3, I think it is, just to allow the guys to get their cars repaired, and then they'll get racing. Being a sprint race, though, I think, how many random safety cars will we get? I think it's only one, isn't it?
Yeah, just the one, and I think I can start hearing the revs starting to rise now, so might be looking forward to these guys getting underway very, very soon.
Yeah, we're under starters orders here at Bathurst Mount Panorama. We are underway for round 4 of the Australian Online Supercar Championship as they come into Hell Corner for the first time. Josh Rogers, awesome start. Forza Del Nabi right behind him. And then we have the 15 behind him.
Yeah, and I'm just having a look further down. I see there's a few cars getting pretty backed up down here. We've got 7, 8, 9, 10 cars almost all in a collision right at the very, very back, where I'm just trying to work out who the hell we've got involved in this one.
Oh, well, we've got half the field involved in it. We're straight under caution here, that's for sure, and we'll go back and have a look at this replay. Greg Sharp was involved, but it all started with McDonald, I think it was, getting up on 2 wheels.
Yeah, that's a lot of damaged cars out of that one, but McDonald seemed to have a bit of help. Who's alongside him there? That was Dylan Shepherd up the inside, giving him a bit of a lift and got him on 2 wheels, and that set a chain reaction off for the rest of the field behind. Yeah,
and we're going to have a look at this start from Jordan McDonald's car, because he was the one we saw for West End Mazda up on 2 wheels, and we'll get the super slow-mo on this and just try to unravel exactly what went on here. Yeah, so he got into, the fast karts, number 43, that was Shepherd, I think you said that earlier, Daniel, got involved, and then the Simworks boys started, and then from there it was just, well, what would you call that?
Everyone tripping over themselves, but Jordan got a great start, got up around the outside of Dylan through turn 1, and I think Dylan sort of gave him a bit of room there, but maybe not just enough, and there she is at the end.
Yeah, we can just see the aftermath here, and the guys are all just piling into each other, and there's going to be a lot of damaged cars. We can see Jordan there still bouncing off the cars into the wall on the inside. Got a Pagnian car, that's probably Nick Hausler involved. One of the Kimmy Rural fencing cars, a Kiani car. So yeah, it's who's who out there of the zoo, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of guys are going to be pretty disappointed now because this is going to chew up the one fast repair they get for this event. So, yeah, they're going to have to be very, very careful now for the remainder of this event to not bend these cars anywhere further.
Yeah, so, yeah, it sort of puts you on the back foot, doesn't it? Big time. I'm trying to ascertain exactly who has been involved in that. I know Jason Bentz is one of those cars that was involved. He did a quick tow and he's just coming out of the pits now, so he will stay on the lead lap. But there's also a lot of guys now limping around. Greg Sharp, well, look at his car, it's absolutely destroyed. And also the 200 has just been towed in as well. And I'm trying to get who that car is.
Yeah, so I see Brett Laxton's in here in the 209, which is the Kimmy Rural fencing's car. Greg Sharp car 747's in there. I think both of those two guys have had tows. Benjamin Smith's just rolled in. There's still a few guys out here that are getting around without coming in for repair. Brian Borg's got a bit of damage on his car and is still out there at the moment.
Yeah, so we're pretty much going to be going back to racing after this lap, I would suspect. So if they haven't come in now, they're either happy with the car or they're going to find they're going to have to come in under green.
Yeah, I'm assuming if the guys have stayed out, hopefully it is all good, but they are going to notice it a lot coming down Conrod. They're not going to have the straight line of speed that the guys in clean cars are going to have.
Yeah, well, that's where they're really going to suffer, isn't it? And that's where you really need a lot of top-end speed. That and also coming up Mountain Straight.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the big movers so far, obviously, we've had a lot of incidents, but just looking here, Scotty Stevens qualified in 56. He's jumped 20 spots already up into 36th spot.
Fantastic. So he's basically avoided all that carnage and definitely packed and sent that. And we can see out here at the moment Brody's got a lot of damage to his car, and that's the number 12, of course.
Yeah, it's a very tore up race car. It's going to be pretty slow in a straight line, so he'll want to stay up pretty close. Who's he got in front of him? Ryan O'Sullivan. He'll want to stay up close down with Ryan down Conrod to sort of minimise the loss, but I'm really surprised he hasn't come in and tidied up that car and used one of those fast repairs. Yeah,
I'm surprised as well, and I'm just going to restart our overlays, folks, because it looks like we've got a little bit of a glitch here. And I know why we've got a glitch. It was just my fault. Being a Friday night, I'm still half asleep, I think.
Nah, that's allowed, mate. I'm just going back a little bit further just to sort of see some of the losses that we may have seen as a result of this. And it looks like Dave Oliver hasn't fared too well. He's dropped from 24th starting spot down to 46th as a result of that. Henry King had a bit of damage. He went from 27th on the grid down to 49th currently. So a few quick cars that have unfortunately found a bit of drama, but hopefully knowing what pace they've got about them, they should be able to make their way back up through the field.
Yeah, and we sort of expected it, didn't we, that there would be drama. I didn't quite expect it at Hell Corner, but I did expect it when they got up the end of Mountain Straight up here. We've also got one of the Fords down there running on the grass down Conrod Straight. I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, I'll have to work out where that car is. I can't see it for the life of me here at the moment, but if you find a number, let us know. It'd be interesting to see if the Gisbergen driving standard is paying off for him.
Yeah, exactly. So some of these cars involved in that accident, folks: Brett Loxton, Greg Sharp, Adam Hyland, Shannon Mason's been involved in it, and of course we saw the number 12 out there limping around as well. I'd say he'll be in. The safety car lights are still on here, so he'll have another opportunity as Josh Rogers decides to tell the safety car to get a bit of a hurry up. I'm not sure if he thought he was going to go racing or not, but I think he wanted to give the safety car a bit of a nudge there.
Yeah, and I've got another couple of guys coming into the lane. Pete Sattler in what car's he in, the 056, and just behind him Matt Clowett in the 58. They've got a few other guys actually following them in to do quick repairs, and I think just looking here at Dylan Carroll, doesn't have too much damage on the car, but he might be starting to play a bit of strategy and maybe just top that car up and run a little longer in this stint. Yeah,
well, it's a 24 lap race, isn't it? So I guess if you can top it up now and get a good run, you'll be there. But saying that, it's a heck of a big field, and he's going to be starting smack bang in the back of it.
Yeah, it's a very long stop for Dylan. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but a lot of the other guys that have come and gone already. Brenton O'Brien's still sitting there at the moment. Dave Oliver's there. Henry King's back underway with his car repaired. Sean Chappell's on the way out. Kyle Stokes is up there. So yeah, a few of the guys now that have had those stops have managed to make their way out. Pete Sattler's back out with a nice shiny car, so I think we should be good to go once these guys get around after this lap.
Yeah, so we might bring Pete up very quickly for a chat before we go racing. What do you think? Do you reckon we've got time?
Yeah, definitely, mate.
Hi Pete, welcome to the RRTV com box, mate. Have you got time to have a quick chat?
Yeah, got a little while.
So we saw the carnage down there and the aftermath. It looked like your car might have been in the thick of it there with a lot of damage. And what were your thoughts of that, or didn't you see much of it apart from all the cars all over the track?
I saw the car spinning in front, and I checked up, and then all of a sudden I just got the biggest hit in the rear. I just think people just try and, Days of Thunder style, and try and drive through the smoke with the pedal to the metal. It doesn't really work.
No, it was like a domino effect, wasn't it? And we saw it started further up, but then everyone just ploughed in, and even the guys up the back were still running into the guys that already stopped.
Yeah, I don't get why people don't use the middle pedal, to be honest. I think it's a no-brainer, and I think there's some people wanting for brains out there, to be honest.
Yeah, I blame Days of Thunder. But anyway, I've got Daniel up here in the com box with me. I'll hand you over to him very quickly before we go racing.
No worries. G'day, Dan.
Yeah, g'day Pete. Good to see you back out, mate. How did any other boys fare in the race? I think we saw a couple of the Pagnium cars with a little bit of trouble after that one.
Well, I think Jay got a bit of front end damage. Darryl did as well. He's in front of me here now. Other than that, I think everyone sort of escaped. Oh, Greg blew his engine. So it wasn't a very good start for the boys, but a long way to go.
Yeah, and that sort of covers off why we thought Greg may have got a tow there, so that's interesting to know. Before you get underway, how do you think you're going to play it strategy-wise? Maybe try the long run first stint, or short stint and undercut?
I'll see how the tyres come in. I got a funny feeling we'll start them a little bit low, so if they come up and it feels okay, I might go long. We'll see how the pace is and if I'm getting held up or not.
Awesome. We'll let you get back underway and get settled, mate. Thanks so much for your time, and no doubt we'll have a chat to you once this race gets concluded tonight.
Cheers, mate.
So, folks, that was Pete Sattler. He's down there in 34th now, Daniel, with quite a bit of work to do, I'd say.
Yeah, he's fallen back a bit, but he's going to have a little bit of help with his teammate just in front. So he's got Dale Hockey in front, who's pretty quick around this circuit. So it's going to be very, very good for him.
Yeah, we're back underway here. We've got Forza Nabi having a look on the inside. He's going to have to watch for Ian Ford putting it up in there, and thought he was going to make a move. McMullen on the outside. Dane Warren still in 5th. But I tell you what, they're all looking very racy up here in the top 6.
Yeah, we almost had a few cars further back get into issues. Brodie Whitmore's had a spin getting onto the front straight, and I think everyone managed to get past him there without too much drama, but some of these guys are 2 and 3 wide on the restart, really wanted to make a move and get going.
Yeah, we can see right up at the tail here, Craig Jones. He's got an angry pack. He's got Ben Smith behind him, Jaden Borg, Jordan McDonald's down in there as well.
Yeah, great little pack this one. There's 5 or 6 cars here really going hammer and tongs at it on this lap. But, the 2 Pagnium cars getting together. Who was that? That was Craig Jones and Nick Heusler. Nick's not going to be too impressed over that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it was. I think it might have been, we'll just have a look at the 111. So it was Nick Heusler, he found the wall up there. So, yeah, he won't be too happy with that. But back up front though, folks, we've got Josh Rogers leading. Forza Malnabi, Ian Ford is 3rd, and Dane Warren, he's moved up to 4th.
Yeah, it's been a really good getaway from Josh at the start. Controlled it quite well and is making his most of it. Same with Forzan, but Mullins right up close and looking for a move there. Ian Ford not too far back either, so these guys have done pretty good for this restart.
Yeah, and this is really the first lap of full-on racing for them, isn't it? Even though we're on to lap 3 out of the 24-lap race.
Yeah, I'd expect we're going to see maybe the times be a little bit lower for this first 2 laps while the tyre pressures come back up and everyone sort of finds their spot. But I mean, Ian Ford is, well, you can't say anything bad about him on a green start. He grabbed a couple of spots on that opening lap and sits himself in 3rd now.
Yeah, he's having an absolutely great run, and I'll tell you what, the quality of the field we have out here is fantastic, and you know, you can see some of the top V8 Supercar drivers in Australia out there going at it tonight, which is always great to see.
Yeah, it's good to see back here the top 10 have pretty much all set themselves out. And, you can see while everyone was battling as hard as they were, we've got the likes of Brody Mayers here sitting in 9th, 5 seconds off after that first lap. So some of these guys are maybe a little more confident on the cold tyre start pressures, but I think these gaps will start normalising and possibly coming down again.
Yeah, we just had Thomas McMillan get turned around there at the cutting, and he's got it sitting, and he can't turn it around because he's just got to wait for all those cars to stream past, and it's going to be a heck of a long wait, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly will, especially while everyone's so close. He's not going to want to stick it back out on the road and risk ruining other cars, but yeah, it's nothing more painful than sitting there watching everyone go by and knowing just how many spots you're losing at the time. Yeah,
well, he'll lose well over 30 spots. He's still sitting there. Now he gasses it up, and he's in 53rd, and he was in the mid-20s when he spun that.
Yeah, so that's quite a few spots that he's lost out of that one. Just going back here, that little pack with Daryl Hockey and Shane Rayner and all them still going hell for leather. It looks like Pete Sattler's got himself up on the back of Benjamin Smith as the guys get through Forest Elbow there, and Pete's in pretty good spot here to look at maybe having a bit of a run.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him on the screen. There's so many cars. What position's he in?
He's currently in 41st. It's the 056. He's just getting... Oh, geez, they've got all the Pagnium cars all around each other. There's 3 of them here.
So yeah, I can see Daryl Hockey there, Kyle Stokes, Shane Rayner. Pete Sattler is in 38th at the moment. Oh, look at this. There's a bit of contact with one of the Kimi Rural fencing cars there, and you're right, it's, I don't know what you'd call that, a pack of Pagnians.
Yeah, I'm just having a look here. Scotty Stevens has found his way into the back of... Who is that in front of him? Mitchell Bales, and... yeah, Scotty's got a very tore-up car at the end of Conrod. He's put it into the wall and slowly made his way back to pits. But we were just saying he had a great recovery to get further up on the opening couple of laps there. He's not going to be impressed about that one.
No, he'll be kicking himself, that's for sure, if it was his fault, that is. But I tell you what, this battle between Pete Sattler and Brett Loxton here, Loxton just got it... a bit taily up there and lost a couple of positions. They were actually banging panels, going through Hell Corner, and we've also got a car now parked up on the side of the road just past the cutting, and another car limping up the hill.
It's very hard to navigate your way through, especially if you've got a few broken cars trying to get themselves back and out of the way. It's very, very much like driving on eggshells, trying to make sure you don't get into their issues. But just going a little further forward here, Simon Mazzomo's in a good little battle with Jaden Borg and Jacob Knight. That's 32nd, 33rd, 34th, so that's not too bad, little battle.
Yeah, and Simon's car, he's going to get the Melbourne Taxi Award tonight by the looks of it, although it's going to be a very high competition because there's quite a few cars looking pretty second hand. He's jumped 21 positions from where he started.
Yeah, it's a good little drive, that. And just watching Luke Page here, he's having a great little scrap here with Daniel Stevens. So that's 23rd and 24th. And right up behind him, Brian Borg's bought his way into this battle as well. So 3 cars here as they make their way over the start-finish line now.
Yeah, and they're looking pretty busy, aren't they? Luke Page, of course, he's up 16 positions, sitting 22nd. You can see another car just running off there at Murray's. They all miss him. And it looks like all the boys out there tonight are extremely busy.
Well, yeah, they're busy. We're busy. I don't know where we can start looking. But, no, look, I think now that we've kind of got these first couple of laps down, everyone's sort of getting a rhythm, working out who they can and can't lean on. So hopefully the quality of racing is going to improve that a little bit more, but we should start seeing some really good passing opportunities.
Yeah, we just saw there Luke getting it taily. That's Brian Borg putting it up the inside there. Luke, fantastic drive, defended on the outside and held that position, and right behind Brian is Craig Jones. We have another accident as they go, oh, it's going to be messy up here. It's like they've decided to put a chicane in just after the cutting.
Yeah, a bit of dodgems. I'm just noticed here we've got Josh Rogers a long way out of position. I'm just trying to see whether he's taken a stop at the moment, but he was running in 5th place and he's a long way down the order now.
Yeah, I'm going down the order trying to find him, and I haven't found him yet.
There we are. I've got him with one stop, but that's well, he's just come out from a stop. So maybe trying a bit of an undercut. He was in the lane for 11 seconds with a 30-second total transit time. So possibly playing the early game, get that fuel stop out of the way and push towards the front.
Yeah, it's quite a risk though, isn't it? Because he's, I guess he's in 25th now. The risk is going to be getting clear traffic or getting caught up in someone else's incident.
Yeah, but he might be able to offset that. Obviously, we may still see another random safety car for this event. So if he's able to get his stop in now, make sure the car's topped up with enough fuel to get to the end, he doesn't have to stop when everyone else comes in. So there he goes. He can make that position up while everyone has to go through the lane.
Yeah, and we're driving with him at the moment, just in the gyro cam. You can see how busy he is. He goes up on the inside of one car, sits in behind Pitt, and now he's pulling it out, and I tell you what, look at the wheel work.
He's a great young steerer, Josh Rogers. That was pretty good driving, straight up the inside of Mitchell Bales and Simon Pitt there, so he's not mucking around, he's getting underway. And his next target now that he'll be setting his eyes on is going to be Mark Samuel, just up in front of him, and in front of them then you got Craig Jones in the Pagnium car. So I think Josh is going to be pretty hands full for the next half dozen laps while he gets his way through, but yeah, certainly not slowing down, is he?
No, definitely isn't, and we'll just stick with him a bit as he comes across the hill here, and just because it's darn exciting watching him trying to get past this traffic. I guess this part of the circuit coming up towards Skyline, he's right behind Mark Samuels there. He's going to have to be a little bit patient.
Yeah, well, we've seen it. Obviously, most guys will remember pretty famously a couple of years back in the Bathurst 12 hour with I think it was Van Gisberg in the McLaren going up the inside of Takuma Sato in that Ferrari through there. So I don't think these cars, obviously we know they don't have the grip for it, but maybe Josh might try something like that a bit later on.
Yeah, it'll be pretty interesting to see. One of the viewers have asked how much fuel do you think they're going to take in their pit stop. To give you an idea, they started with 75 litres here tonight, 24 lap race, and Josh Rogers, hang on to it, he was in there for 11.2 seconds. He's overcooked it.
Yeah, he ran in pretty hot. He did well to not make that any worse than it was, but he had it pretty well unsettled the minute he hit that curb.
Yeah, we were in there with him and you could just see him trying to gather it up, and I think he had no choice but to run off. Now, a lot of the cars around him, though, they've come in for their stops, so that's moved him up to 19th position. But let's jump up to the front, folks, because at the moment we've got Forzan El Nabi leading this race over Ian Ford second. Dane Warren, he's all over the back of Ian now, and he's sitting in third.
Yeah, and these three are very close together, just a half a second separating first to third, and fourth we've got Insider second. So those guys are starting to close up these gaps here, but must be said, I mean, Dane Warren, he was quick in that Enduro, and we mentioned that earlier on. He's quick here again tonight, so he certainly found something in this setup that he really likes with this track.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he was the fastest in practice in the server I was in, the unofficial qualifying. He was the only one in the high 203s. At the moment, he's in the 205s, but of course now they're in race configuration, and that always adds a second or so onto the times.
Well, it certainly does, but having said that, he was still the quickest car around last lap by a tenth over Ian Ford and Forzan El Nabi, so being bottled up like he is isn't certainly slowing him down, but we've got the top four are still inside that 205.7 bracket at the moment, and then from there we've got Jake Maloney, Riley Blythe, Brody Mayers, Adam Zeitinger are all in the 206s, so a little bit slower than the front four, but not that far off as far as pace is concerned.
Yeah, and if there's another safety car, that'll close them all up anyway. But as far as who's going to be on the podium at the end of this race, it's a bit early to call at the moment with 15 laps to go. But the top four, they're starting to get a bit of a gap, and they're probably going to want to stretch it as far as they can in case we don't get a safety car here tonight.
Yeah, certainly are, but we should have a quick rundown of just the top 10, just so everyone's aware. We've got Forzan El Nabi, as we mentioned, sitting in first. Ian Ford, 3 tenths just behind Forzan. Dane Warren in third. Only half a second then behind Ian, and just inside 8 tenths from Forzan. Marlon McMullen sitting in a pretty lowly fourth at the moment. Jake Maloney is in fifth. Riley Blythe in sixth. Brody Mayers in seventh. Adam Zeitinger in eighth. Michael Tellenjack in ninth, and running out the 10 is Doran Naroki, and he's a new guy. We haven't seen him racing here before, I don't believe.
No, he's definitely a new name to me, and we'll go back and have a look at him soon. But at the moment, Dane's starting to put the blowtorch on the back of Ian. Now, one of the viewers let us know this is where Dane actually started his racing, and he's been racing it for ages, I reckon, and he's probably done well over 1,000 laps, so he'll definitely have the experience here. But saying that, both I reckon Forzan El Nabi, Ian Ford, I reckon they're probably up there in the thousands of laps around here as well.
Yeah, certainly in any car that they drive, and I don't see Dane in too much other than the V8, so he's a pretty decent specialist in the V8, but yeah, the likes of Forzan and Ian and that, I mean, they do countless laps here, especially in GTs or some of the prototype classes, so no, it's great to see the talent we've got, especially in these top three, and being able to mix it up the way they are.
Yeah, definitely, and Marlon McMullen, he's another person that's been around in V8s for a very long time, as he now brings that WPC or WP concreting entry into the pits for his service, and we'll let you know what sort of a time he does. Now let's go back and have a look at Doran Nikora, because this is someone we haven't seen before, and he's up 7 positions at the moment. He looks like he's driving for Proforce Racing with the GTI Kiani colours, and right behind him is Brendan Jackson, so that would be one of his teammates, I'd say.
Yeah, but he's doing a great little job here. I think he's just dropped a spot back to Ryan O'Sullivan, and Ryan's quick in these cars. I mean, he was quick last season, and I think he teamed up a couple of times with Ian Ford and was very fast. But yeah, Doran's doing a great job here, sitting in 11th, but not letting Ryan get away from him. So I think we should keep a close eye on Doran as this race goes on, but he's doing a great job.
Oh, he's doing a really good job. You can just see the way he's positioning that car. He doesn't look like he's new to the game, does he?
Not at all. And I think the setup, I'm not sure whether he works on the setup on his own or he uses the help of the other Kiani cars here, but it looks very, very comfortable around this circuit. It's not wanting to step out sideways anywhere on him. So I think it's going to be very nice on the tyres in the long run, and I would definitely expect he's going to stay in that top 10 towards the end of this race.
Yeah, as he gets it a bit wrong there. Hang on to it there, Doran, he does. But I was just going to say he's using up all the track he can. And don't worry, folks, he didn't roll it. It's just he's having a bit of internet connection issues by the looks of it.
Yeah, well, before we give him the old commentator's curse, mate, we better get off his car and let him get back to the serious business of racing.
Yeah, I'll just blame you anyway. But meanwhile, up front, the positions haven't changed there. Dane Warren is still trying to make a move. Forza El Nabi now into the pits. We'll keep an eye on where he comes out because we know Josh Rogers is in 15th and he's already stopped. Josh is now coming down Conrod Straight.
Yeah, and actually I think, so Forzan's in now. Marlon McMullen, who we noted had gone in for a stop, he was in for 13 seconds and he dropped back to 13th on his way out. Adam Zeiting is just making his way into the pits as well, and Michael Tallenjack also is.
Yeah, so Josh Rogers is now coming down to Murray's and he will come through now. Forzan, last time we saw him, he's just taking service now, but of course he's in the first pit box, which is always an advantage here, as Josh now coming into Hell Corner, and looks like he's got Forzan. I think Forzan's still sitting in the pits.
Yeah, Forzan's having quite a bit longer stop. I'm not sure whether he's missed something or maybe changing a tyre or something a little more than he needed to, but 47 seconds now is a fairly long stop compared to what Marlon had, 32 seconds, so not really working out the best, is it?
No, it certainly isn't. I can see he's still sitting in there, and maybe he's taking on some sort of repair.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I don't know where he would have got that, but he's certainly back underway now.
Yeah, 49.667 seconds was his stop. He comes out in 30th position, so very costly stop there for our previous race leader.
Yeah, certainly not the worst time we've seen in pit lane so far, but certainly a long way off what it needed to be.
Oh, exactly right. The fastest time I can see out there at the moment is Jacob Knight. He did a 5.2 second stop, but I dare say he'll be in again. His car's looking pretty second hand, although it's great to see the suspension working in that car.
Yeah, but having said that, he only came in 4 laps prior to Josh Rogers coming in, so potentially could go through if that car doesn't have too much of an issue. But pitting around the similar sort of time frame to that, we had Henry King, Shane Rayner, Jaden Borg, and I think there were a few of the guys at the start who had a little bit of drama as well.
Yeah, now we can see Dane Warren is in the pits. He's taking service now. Josh Rogers, he's back in the pits. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I wasn't expecting that.
No, I'm just watching a few of the guys a little bit further back here. Matt Stratford's right up on the back of Brenton O'Brien. Brenton's not going to be liking this one too much, but just in front of them is Kyle Stokes. That's 23rd, 24th, 25th, so pretty tough racing back here.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump back there. We can see Chappell at the moment in there. At first I thought he was in a Ghostbusters car, but no, I think it's a big Holden badge emblazoned on the front of that car. Let's see if I can find that battle you were talking about here. Yeah,
so it's actually Duran's in it. He's in 22nd. Matt Stratford in 21st currently. Bretton O'Brien's in 20th, and just in front of them is a pretty fast-charging Josh Rogers. So Josh has managed to get out pretty comfortably in front of a few of these cars a little further back and still pushing forwards.
I'm seeing something different on my telemetry than what you're calling, so I'm not sure what's going on here.
Maybe might have been two cars that were still in the pit lane as these guys crossed the line, potentially. Yeah, it was, because if I look here on general timing, I've got Brett O'Brien actually sitting in 13th at the moment.
Yeah, so we've picked them up here. We can see Doran. He's looks like he's got team boss Sean Thompson behind him. I tell you what, no pressure there, Doran.
No, not at all. Don't. It's bad when you take out one of your teammates. It's probably a sackable offence if you take out the boss.
Yeah, that's right. I just blame Sean. That's what I'd say. So, mate, it's your fault.
Yep, definitely. But no, good little battle here. Who else have we got involved in that? Doran, Gene Fiddles just in behind. He's sporting a bit of damage on the front of that car. But no, Doran's doing really good. He's stretching the legs a bit further over Sean, and just in front of him, Matt Stratford again, right up behind Brett O'Brien as they. Oh, don't know how he missed that car getting in through the chase there.
Yeah, he pushed it through. Now we're Doran's having a crack at Brenton and got a run. There's a KSW car slow on the inside, and of course we caught all that on our bumper cam. But look at this jumping back. It's crazy out there tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty much buy your ticket to the Derby, isn't it? The guys are going pretty hard. Looked like it was Shane Rayner who was the car we saw having a bit of an off-track excursion in front of these guys, but yeah, great battling just up in front of you.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a coincidence, but a lot of these cars up here are Holdens, and yeah, I'm not going to say anything else.
Well, look, I'm sure the Ford guys will say yes, they're holding on and they're still getting there and blah blah blah. But look, it's I don't think it matters too much in the car in this one, does it?
What's that?
I don't think it really matters too much in the car as long as the guys are getting up front. But Sean put a good little move on there just around the inside of Breton as they had their way up through the mountain just before as well.
Yeah, from what I understand with these cars, it's pretty much, I think Dick Johnson said it once, or someone did when they're going to change marks. They said it's not a big problem. They just bolt different panels onto them. But yeah, it's probably a difference in the motor, the type of motor they're running. That's about it.
Yeah, very much so. It's similar, I think, to what we see with the NASCAR series that iRacing put out. It's pretty much the same internals, just a different outer skin on it nowadays.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And looking at our leader, it's Riley Blythe leading at the moment. He has not stopped, of course. Marlon McMullen has stopped. 13.6 seconds Riley's in now. He is leading with Dane Warren behind him. Ian Ford now is sitting in third, and we're under safety car here, folks. So maybe that's why Josh Rogers dived in. He knew there was possibly another safety car. He gambled on it, and now potentially he's sitting in 10th, so he's looking pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, that worked out really well for Riley. I think if that had been a green stop, we would have seen Riley fall a lot further back than what he has there. He's come out, I believe, in 4th spot. But if anything, this is going to actually help Josh a lot now that the field's going to compress back up. He's going to be able to sort of make the most of this now.
Yeah, we can see Riley there. He's just pulled in behind Adam Zeidinger, and geez, I wish Adam could put some flashing blue lights on that car. Now, what's going on with Riley? He's dropping right down the field. They're all passing him, basically.
That's interesting. I wonder if maybe he got a penalty for pitting when the yellow came out, because I think he dived in just behind the yellow, so potentially he's come in just at the wrong time and been caught out by the pits being closed.
Yeah, and that would be go to the end of the longest line, wouldn't it? Is that the sort of penalty they get? And that's definitely what he's doing. He's just letting them all through.
Yeah, so I believe that's right. One thing we did miss out here, which is going to help play out to the end. Now, we noted Josh Rogers had come in very early on in this race. He's actually made his second stop already, and we missed that, but he only came in a couple of laps ago, so he's fueled to the end. So look for him to be pushing his way up as this race goes green again.
Yeah, some of us missed it. I recall I actually called that when he came in, because I said at the time I was very surprised he was in so early. Not that I'm calling you out on it, but I am.
No, look, that's cool. I'm still a bit rusty. I'm getting back up to speed, but look, no, I think Josh is in a very good spot now here for the remainder of this race. But the two guys in front who are going to be pretty hard to catch again, going to be Dane's in a great spot to get up front and just start walking away from the field. But I think Marlon McMullen and Ian Ford are probably going to have a couple of other things to say about that one.
I'd say you're right, and we just jumped to Jake Maloney there as he was sliding on his side down the road there, and I was a bit shocked at first, but turned out he's just got internet connection issues. He did look pretty good though. He had sparks flying out the mirror and everything.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Bathurst is a bit weird for internet connectivity, but I mean, I think the worst is probably watching that safety car go around. I don't think I've seen a car that spends more time in the wall and looks as good as it does when it comes out.
Yeah, it's always looking great, isn't it? Always looking beautiful, considering it spends half the time in the wall.
Yeah, it certainly does. But look, it's a good use of the old Porsche that iRacing used to have. But just watching here, Marlon and Dane are right up behind that car, and maybe saving a little bit extra fuel just on the run down here. But it's going to be interesting just to see how everything rolls out.
Yeah, and looking at 24 laps, we're on lap 14 now, folks, so it'll be a 9-lap sprint when we go back live. Everyone's trying to get their pit stops done. The ones that I don't have that haven't stopped yet is Ryan O'Sullivan and Daniel Williams, as well as Mark Samuel, but Mark's missing the whole rear end of that car at the moment.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm just keeping an ear out. I've just heard a bit of chat from Riley as to what's caused him to fall down so far, and it looks like when he released, he had the good old iRacing good to go, and as he's gone out, maybe the lane is closed, and it looks like it's given him a penalty, which has sent him right to pretty much the back of this field.
Yeah, he'd be spewing about that, and we're just on board here with Henry King, sitting in 28th position at the moment. We've actually got him on the line. Henry, how's this race panning out for you? It looked very eventful earlier on. Hopefully you weren't caught up in all that.
Unfortunately I was. I managed to stop whilst watching the carnage unravel in front of me at turn 1. And then someone collected me and put me into another vehicle, so yeah, had a quick repair, and back up to where we started now, so it should be a good finish.
Yeah, I know before the race we had a chat with you off air and you were hoping for a top 10 finish. Do you reckon you still got a chance there, or you're just going to be going for maximum points you can get at this stage?
I'm still aiming for a top 10. The car's good. I've got the freshest tyres of the cars in front of me, I'm pretty sure, because I pitted literally the lap before the safety car came out, so I should be right for that. And if some of the guys in front of me drive like some of the guys behind me who just put in the fence under yellow, I should be right.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Daniel. He might have some more questions, and then we'll let you get back to focusing on the race.
Yeah, mate, just a quick one. How have you found the tyres have gone over the course of this stint? Obviously a little bit longer in the first one, given you had that bit of issue at the beginning, but tyres, are finding much play in those at all?
To be honest, actually, it was good for the first 3 or 4 laps, and then whilst I was in a battle, I must have overheated the fronts a bit and got a real bad understeer, but adjusted the bars a bit and she's come good, so we should be right for the finish.
Excellent. We'll let you get back to it, mate. I think you guys are finding your way over the top of the mountain now, and keep an eye on and hope for a good finish for you for the end of the race.
That's the plan. Have a good call, guys.
Fantastic, folks, and that was Henry King there in the Zuva entry. You can see the beautiful paint job there again, Daniel, and this is about the 5th or 6th Henry's done, and I think this one is the Ice and Fire colour scheme.
It's a sharp-looking car, isn't it? But certainly stands out nice on the track there.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's always beautifully prepared, isn't it? And that car's looking quite straight. 23rd he's in at the moment, up one position from where he started, and he's still pretty confident for a top 10 finish here, so we'll definitely keep an eye on him.
Yeah, well, certainly a chance. I mean, he's been quite quick for the recent laps that have gone through, so shouldn't be too hard to move through. I think, like you mentioned, the biggest issue is going to be keeping an eye out for what traffic seems to unfold in front of him and whether there's any sort of major big incidents.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the biggest danger, isn't it? And we'll jump back up the front here. Safety car lights are out. We're on lap 15, so a 8 lap sprint by the time they get the starter's orders, I guess. I was going to say checkered flag. That's a little ways down the track. But now I can see who's that. One of the purple cars. That's my call. He's doing a thing right behind Adam. That's Ryan O'Sullivan there, doing a Van Gisbergen into the grass.
Yeah, a bit crazy probably to be doing that, getting a bit of grass on as the lights are about to go out. But yeah, going to be interesting.
Certainly is, and we'll jump on board with Dane because I have a feeling he's going to try to send something up here onto the inside as they come into Hell Corner. But Marlon will be awake to that. As Marlon now puts a pedal down, he gets it a little bit squirrely, but it's good enough to keep Dane behind him as they come into Hell Corner now for the 16th time.
Yeah, no, Marlon did a great job on getting the jump. It was just enough to put it away on Dane there, but I think just hearing some guys saying a little further back there's a bit of issues, so it might be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll definitely jump back there in a minute. Dane's now on the outside of Marlon. Marlon's not going to let him... what's going to happen here? Too wide. You don't want to do that. As he goes nearly into the fence and gathers it up.
Yeah, pretty intense racing up the front here. Marlon did a great job to hang on to that, and Dane likewise, just to give him enough room to not cause any major incidents there.
Yeah, well, Marlon was in the perfect position, and I knew he wasn't going to give any quarter there. And Dane, I think, did a good job. He was in the dirty side of the track and heading towards the wall, but pulled it up. So you're saying there's a bit of an issue further back in the field?
Yeah, I can't see the cars involved in it, but it actually has brought out another safety car. I think I did hear, who was that? Josh Burden was involved in that, and I think Josh Rogers was involved in it as well.
Okay, so let's jump back and see if I can find exactly what's gone on there. So Josh Burden and Josh Rogers. Okay, so I've picked up Josh Burden here. He's sitting in 14th position. So let's jump back and see if we can exactly work out what's going on here. It looked like it happened... just trying to think, when you called it, it looked like it must have been through Hell Corner.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's actually brought that on, but certainly a few cars not overly happy about it.
Yeah, so we're going to jump back. We've got Ryan O'Sullivan there. Phil Jones also off on the grass, so that doesn't tell us a story here. But I was trying to get some telemetry on this, but so far haven't got anything.
So Josh got a good move up the inside of Michael Tallenjack, and then it's just slowed down all in front of these guys, so I don't quite understand what's brought that out.
Yeah, I can't see any major incident. A few of the guys were in the grass before the restart, but it looked pretty clean to me. I don't know what this is, all these cars going off onto the grass. Are they trying to gather up incident points or something?
Well, potentially, but you do lose points in the chase for that Pagnium racing seat if you get too many. But I see there's a bit of contact on the opening, on the start there with Gene Fiddles and Sean Thompson. Sean looked like he got a lot of curb as they got on the front straight there, and Gene sort of just ran into the inside of him, but that's about the only major thing I can see to talk of.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a mystery there why the safety car came out, and as always though, it brings up Bathurst always brings it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure does, but obviously go back up the front. I mean, Marlon did a great job to hold out Dane on that restart, and I think it's just going to have Dane that little bit more itching and raring to go to get past now.
Yeah, well, that was a good practice run for him, wasn't it? And he's got Jake Maloney behind him, and then Ian Ford sitting there in fourth position. Rounding out your top five is Brady Mayers, keeping an eye on where Henry is at the moment. He was 23rd. And where is he now? Can't even see him.
Yeah, I've got Henry. Oh, he dropped back to. Oh, that car's in the pits. He's fallen back to 49th, unfortunately. So that's not the best result.
That could be why the safety car's out, couldn't it? We're going to jump back here and see if I can pick Henry up here. And see if we can. Well, let's keep on going back. I want to see if we can find it. He's been in the pits for some time. Okay, I've picked him up here. His car's looking good. Let's have a look at what occurred here. It's up behind Mark Samuels. Coming up Mountain Straight, looking on the inside. Looking good so far. So this was on the restart here, Daniel, and they're coming up side by side up towards the cutting. Wow, he got hit big time by that's why the safety car's out. The 100 was involved. The 111 got into the side of Henry, put him up on his side, and that's why we're under safety car.
Yeah, well, that explains it. So that was Craig Jones. It looks like he was trying to put the move up the inside of Henry King there. I think possibly up far enough to have pulled that off, but it was a bit of a late move coming in as well, so something race stewards will have a look at once this is all sorted out, but certainly did create a traffic jam behind everyone there. Yeah,
and Jason Bentz was also involved in that towards the end of it, and of course you can see his car now with no front end on it, and there's a car further back that's also looking very second hand, but I don't think he was involved in that incident.
So yeah, quite a yeah. I think I probably maybe expected to see that we would have seen a lot of guys trying to make those moves, but first lap out after the tyres are cooled down, maybe not the best way to go.
No, definitely not. And 7 laps remaining of this race, folks. We should go racing with 5 laps remaining, but in the meantime, I hope everyone joining us on iRacing Live tonight is enjoying our telecast of the Australian Online Supercar Championship. It's definitely great to have you with us tonight, and of course all our other guests are watching it in the chat room. It's always great to have those boys there, and they've been feeding us information all night, and I thank you all very much for that.
Yeah, it's good to have a lot of discussion going on there at the moment. Just keeping an eye on that safety car. The lights have gone out, so next time by we're back under racing by the looks of it. And yeah, no, great to see the amount of guys that are in the chat contributing to all this. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for doing it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? And of course, folks, your commentary team tonight: Daniel Leeton, myself, Bernie Weemers, and calling all the action here for you tonight. So. It's great to have you back. You were on a bit of a hiatus there, I guess you could say, for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks off with a few family engagements, but was kind of itching to get back in the seat again.
Yeah, no, I was wondering where you went. we sorted that out, and of course, folks, another big thank you I must give to the whole iRacing community. I launched a GoFundMe campaign and a PayPal campaign last week to try and raise money to upgrade my equipment here, so we can give you even a better, higher quality experience of what we're delivering now. So far we've raised $1,200 from the target of 3,000. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank every single person who's backed me on that. It means a lot, and it just goes to show what a fantastic community we have here in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, most of these guys, we see them in, day out, whether they're on the broadcast like tonight or giving up general advice in the forums and on the Facebook pages. You know, it's great to see the community support that's out there, and obviously to yourself, mate, you do a hell of a job putting on these broadcasts for everyone to enjoy the sport that we all love doing. So, you know, thanks to absolutely everyone who's looking at helping, contributing, and to the guys who are obviously going to help put more in later on down the line.
Yeah, so the campaign's going to run for another week. If anyone out there wishes to contribute, GoFundMe.com/RRTV Live. They don't take PayPal. Oh, God, that scared me. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. But I have set up a page, paypal.me/RRTV Live, if you want to put any money towards upgrading our equipment here.
Yeah, it looks like we get back to the racing. Looks like everyone's getting into racing mode now, and starting to see these top four really compressing up. So we've got, if we do a quick recap, we've got Marlon McMullen's in first, followed by Dane Warren, Jake Maloney, Ian Ford, and Brodie Mayers for the top five. And I think we're going to see some pretty good fireworks for these last remaining few laps.
Yeah, I reckon we will, and we know Dane's going to have a go. We know Marlon, he's not going to just step aside anytime soon. He's a hard racer. Keep an eye on Jake Maloney as well. And Ian Ford. We've got Brodie Mayers up there, and then of course Adam Zeidinger. He just wants to arrest all of them, and I bet you he would if he could in his police livery.
Yeah, certainly would. I mean, he's run that livery for a while now, and it looks good on these cars, and I'm sure a few of the guys, when they see it come behind, want to push that a little bit faster to get away from it.
Yeah, I just want to see if he goes and sets up a breathalyzer and pulls them all over. Now that would be classic. But we're underway racing once again, folks. Marlon McMullen will lead them off again. We'll see if he gets a good start. He did last time, but Dane was racy. He does. If anything, Dane has backed up a bit. That's allowed Jake Maloney to climb on the back of him, and 5 laps remaining. It's anyone's race.
Yeah, it was a great start by Marlon there. He got away very, very nicely. Left Dane probably a little bit exposed to Jake, and I think he's sorted that out now as they get past turn 1. But Ian Ford, the silent assassin, sitting there in 4 still and doing a great job. But looks like Brodie Mayers sort of missed the jump on that one, and he's fallen back about a second and a half now.
Yeah, he's just ahead of Adam Zeidinger by the looks of it there, and he'll back Adam up as well. We're just riding with Jake Maloney as they come over the mountain for the 19th time. It was interesting, Dane tried the outside move again. Marlon wasn't going to give him any quarter, but this time Dane decided to tuck it back in. So maybe he scared himself a bit, and I'll tell you what, sparks fly off the side of Dane's car as he just clips the wall.
Yeah, Dane's pushing extremely hard. Maybe looking to set up a move down Conrod, nice and close as they get down through the dipper here, and that's doing a great job. And likewise, Ian Ford really starting to apply the pressure on the back of Jake Maloney. So first and second getting away to a good battle, third and fourth having a good battle, and 1 through 4th all the way into it.
Yeah, so it's go time here at Mount Panorama, and this is when the temperature, as I call it, changes completely, and everyone all of a sudden gets extremely serious. As we see now, Dane getting a great run. What's he going to do? He's got to go the outside at the chase. Brave move. He lifts, and he's trying to set it up the inside. I think he's going to try and make this.
It's very reminiscent of the Jamie Whincup move there, and Marlon did a great job to hang on to that on the outside, and just behind, just watching Jake giving a bit of a swerve to try and break that tail from Ian Ford behind him. So there's nothing separating these 4 guys on track at the moment.
That's fantastic, isn't it? And I tell you what, we're riding on the roof cam there. There was no contact between Dane or Marlon, and I was expecting it, as now Dane gets a run on the inside here. See if Marlon's going to try it. No, he doesn't. Oh, there's contact.
Yeah, it was close. Dane maybe just a touch, and that's really unsettled him for this race. But I think Marlon's doing the right thing. He's backed off just to redress that situation, but that was pretty scary for both of those two cars. But in doing so, that's opened up now Jake Maloney and Ian Ford to have a crack at the top step for this race, and Brody Mayers is working his way up on the back of Ian Ford as a result of this. So keep an eye on these guys. Josh Rogers is now up to 4th. So we go from one great little battle there with Marlon and Dane to another one with these 4 guys.
Yeah, well, Dane and Adam Zeiding is at it as well back here, and banging panels. So Dane's wanting to get through. Adam's going, no way, mate. You're going to have to wait. And so it's all on here. I think Dane's now trying to get back up the front, but quite honestly, I think his race is done with 4 laps of racing to go.
Yeah, but don't take it away. I mean, there may be a few incidents towards the end of this he can still capitalise on, but he's going to be very disappointed for that one for sure. But watching Ian Ford, he's looking to really set up Jake Maloney down Conrod, maybe a little far back at this point, but should be right up against him on the anchors as they come through Conrod there. Likewise, Josh Rogers right up behind. Who's he up? Brady Myers here for 3rd. And I think we may see Josh Rogers take this position before the chase.
Yeah, and then behind them we can see Adam there. Dane's still sitting in there. He's not as far down the track as I thought he was. So, yeah, I won't write him off now as he goes to the grass. And tell you what, he's having a hell of a time trying to get past Adam here.
Yeah, he sure is, but he's pushing very, very hard. And just behind him, we've got Marlon. So those two trying to work their way back up the front. Dane's got a nice move here on the inside of Adam and takes that spot as they turn into turn 1 there, just up ahead. Everything's pretty much status quo. Ian's maybe a little closer on the back of Jake as these guys head up through turn 2 now.
Yeah, 3 laps remaining, and it's coming right down to the wire as it always does. Look at Ian Ford now, right on the back of Jake Maloney here. He's putting the pressure on. He wants to make the move because he's got, of course, Josh Rogers right behind him, and it's all starting to come together, isn't it, as far as strategy goes?
It certainly is, and it's actually something I haven't seen we mentioned tonight. Ian's actually in a Ford as well, so Ford's in the top 3 for this race, 4 for this race currently, so good showing from those guys. But yeah, the top 3, you just throw a blanket over them. There's nothing in this at the moment.
Yeah, well, we're looking at the bumper cam there, and Josh Rogers right up the inside there. You don't want to try it at the S's, but he does, and he backs out as we come down through the dipper with 3 laps remaining.
Oh, great racing here. I don't know how these guys are doing that. I'm at all watching these guys get around. Josh, yeah, a bit of a ding there between, looks like Josh Rogers and Ian Ford there.
Yeah, Ian went into the fence pretty hard. We've got Adam now on the grass on the inside. Marlon threading either way through there. And now Ian's back on pace. We'll have a look at that replay though and see exactly what occurred.
Yeah, it looks like Josh has had a good dive there up in through the elbow, and maybe not quite as far up as he thought as Ian turned the car back down in that and just clipped the inside and off she goes.
Yeah, into the wall there, and he shouldn't have any damage to that car really because it went in backwards. See Dane, but now have a look at what occurs here as Adam's going on the grass and Marlon, well, he's just going in between both of them and grabbing all those positions. So looking at your top 5 as they stand at the moment, folks, we have Jake Maloney leading Josh Rogers. Josh putting the pressure on. Brady Mayers just a little bit down the track, 9/10 of a second down, in fact. And Dane still trying to recover from that earlier contact in 4th. Then we have Ian Ford and Marlon McMullen in 5th and 6th. Ryan O'Sullivan 7th. 8th is Adam Zeidinger. 9th, Michael Tallenjack. And rounding out your top 10 is Matt Stratford.
And I'm just keeping a good eye on this battle here we've got between Josh and Jake Maloney. There's absolutely no love lost between these two team cars, and good bit of respect from both of these two. Obviously being teammates, I don't want to bin it for either of them, but yeah, very, very hard racing as these guys are working their way down the mountain now. And looks like Brodie Mayers, he's got his mirrors full here with Dane Warren pushing back through as well.
Yeah, looking at the gearbox cam here at Jake Maloney, we can see the radiator there. I don't know, they have to be contacting when they get that close to our camera.
Yeah, certainly do. Just watching, where are we, Dane? Yeah, Ian's pushing his way back up through the field. He's dropped back to 5th there, just behind Brodie Mayers. Dane's cleared now 3rd position, and another tough battle. Looks like Jake Maloney is sideways. Josh Rogers has gone off through the chase. That's opened it up for Dane Warren. And where do we look now? These guys are going hammer and tong.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we've got Brady there ready to pounce as well as he gives Jake a bit of a bump saying get out of my way. We're coming through Dane Warren now. We've got Riley Blythe spinning it just after Hell Corner. It's all going off here on the last lap, and Dane Warren, he's up to 2nd. Can he catch Josh Rogers with 1 lap to go?
Yeah, it was a great job by Dane just to get around the outside of Jake. Jake caught the curb there as it unsettled that car, and great job by Jake not to put it into Dane there, but Dane certainly had the traction to make 2nd position his then.
Yeah, now Ian Ford, he moves up to 4th position. Marlon McMullen comes through, pushes Brady down 2 positions in 1 corner. So all the guys here are jostling for position. Now Dane Warren, he's coming under pressure from Jake Maloney.
Yeah, and it's bringing Ian Ford back in. He's not that far behind these two as he brings Marlon McMullen all the way back up to the front with him as well. But Dane's managed to sort of start gapping Jake Maloney a little bit there, but Marlon's really starting to apply the pressure to Ian Ford as they come up over Skyline now. But up in front, looks like Josh Rogers pretty much got it under control now. We may see a nice last final charge from Dane here through Conrod.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's trying to set it up. He's still about 3 car lengths behind. He's going to need a darn good run out of here and get into that draft. So we see them come down Conrod for the final time here. It's Josh Rogers, Dane Warren, Jake Maloney, Ian Ford and Marlon McMullen are your top 5.
Yeah, I think Josh looks like he's done enough to hold this one off. Just going back a little bit further, Ian Ford's maybe not quite close enough as Jake protects the inside through the chase. Ian gives him a bit of touch up for his measure.
Yeah, and Marlon's getting involved in this as well as they go down 2 wide into the final corner here. We need to jump up to our race winner though, which is Josh Rogers. As we can see, Marlon going off in the background. Josh Rogers wins round 4, followed by Dane Warren in 2nd, Jake Maloney 3rd, Brady comes home in 4th, and Ian Ford 5th. So let's jump back and have a look at how that unravelled into that final corner. So yeah, it's Ian on the inside. He actually connected with, a bit messy there with Marlon McMullen, and Brady just swept through. Just got that position by the looks of it.
Yeah, Ian Ford kind of got a bit blocked in there. He had nowhere really to go behind Jake, and Marlon. Marlon did a great job. He put it right up where he needed to be, and came off a little worse for wear after that one. I'm just seeing where Brodie Mayers came through. Looks like Ian still managed to come home in 4th, and I think Brodie managed to get his way up to 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he did. We'll go through the final positions now. I was trying to see if Josh Rogers was doing any burnouts, but he's already out of the car, and you can see Sean Thompson up there, right behind. Who's he behind? 94. Not sure. Jaden Borg as they go across the hill. But let's go through the final positions, because now, Daniel, you've got the hardest job of all, and that is picking the driver of the night for this fantastic Pagnian competition.
Well, where do we start? I mean, there's I don't know where to start. There's so much great racing all around tonight. I think Oh God, I don't know. Maybe we should put it to the viewers tonight. I mean, I've got a couple. I reckon Dane Warren had a hell of a drive to come back after that bit of an incident where he got tangled up with Marlon McMullen. He had a hell of a drive to come back and take second, and only finished a second off. Ian Ford, after his little contact with Josh Rogers, I mean, pulled back up to fourth. That was a great drive and good recovery from him. And Duran, who we've never seen race before, finished with a top, or just outside the top 10 and 11th. Really put it to these guys as well. So I've got three that I want to pick for this, and I don't know. Maybe we put it to the viewers and see if they've got a viewers choice award, maybe.
Yeah, well, we could definitely do that, and it's just a matter of how, as we see, there we go. Dukes of Hazzard style, Mr. Myers. Well done. Let's go through the final positions. We'll see who the bigger movers are, and then we'll work out how the viewers can help us out here. So, I guess the easiest way is if they tweet #RRTV live on Twitter. We can see if we can see their votes there. That might be one way to do it. But let's go through the position. So Josh Rogers wins tonight. He pretty much started on pole, finished on pole. Dane Warren up 3 positions, coming home in second. I'm just going to go out to Chopper Cam because Brady's kicking up a storm out there. Dane Warren second. Jake Maloney up 5 positions, comes home in third. Ian Ford, he comes home in 4th position. Marlon McMullen drops 2 positions and finishes in 5th. In 6th we had Brady Mayers, followed by Adam Zeidinger in 7th. Michael Talenjak comes home in 8th. Matt Stratford 9th. 10th was Josh Burden. Duran Nickera up 6 positions in 11th, and so far in the top 12 the biggest mover is Brian Borg, who's up 12 positions.
In 13th we had Brendan Jackson, 14th was Sean Thompson, 15th was Luke Page. Actually, that was a great job from Luke. He came from 40th all the way up to 15th. Jaden Borg in 16th, Ryan O'Sullivan in 17th, 18th was Wayne Taylor. Forzan El Nabi, we saw have some issues. He actually dropped down to 19th. Mark Samuels in 20th, Thomas McMillan in 21st, Braden Bateman, in 22nd, Rolly Blythe in 23rd, Dale Hockey in 24th.
So the biggest mover award at the moment goes to Mark Samuel, up 29 positions, coming home in 20th, but let's continue down. Gene Fittis comes home in 25th, Greg Sharp 26th, Phil Jones comes home in 27th position, 28th was Mitchell Bales, Tony Lynch comes home in 29th, followed by Kyle Stokes in 30th, 31st David Kinmod, 32nd Sean Chappell, 33rd Simon Mazzomo, followed by Daniel Stevens in 34th. And home in 35th was Simon Pitt, and rounding out your top 36 is Jacob Knight.
In 37th we had Brent O'Brien, Pete Sattler was 38th, Shane Rana was in 39th, and he actually rounded out the last of the lead lap cars. 3 laps down we had Jason Bentz in 40th, Daniel Williams was in 41st, followed by Brett Laxton, Dave Oliver, Dylan Carroll, Paul Tajvara, Nick Heusler. We had Shannon Mason in 47th, Craig Jones 48th, Henry King in 49th, Luke Harvey was 50th, Matt Clowett was 51st, followed by Scotty Stevens in 52nd, Adam Wyburton 53rd, Brody Whitmore was in 54th, Adam Hoyland finished 55th tonight. Jake Jordan McDonald was 56th. Dylan Shepherd, who we saw have a few issues earlier on, came home in 57th. David Miller was 58th, and rounding out the grid tonight was Benjamin Smith in 59th.
Fantastic. Now I'm trying to have a look at how I can work out if anyone sent us anything to Twitter on RRTV Live. Does anyone know how I find hashtags? I'm such a pro at this, aren't I?
Mate, I couldn't even tell you. I don't have a, a Twitter account? Nah, not for me. But looking through the chat, there's been a few calls. Some of the guys are saying Brady deserves driver of the day, up 5 spots, and had the best post-race jump and burnout. That's always handy. Everyone likes a good burnout there. We've got a couple for Rogers, a couple for Dane. So, yeah, very, very good.
Okay, so that doesn't make our job any easier, though, does it?
No, not at all. Maybe we might have to put the names in a hat and pick them out afterwards.
Yeah, I want to throw Mark Samuels in there, mainly because he was the biggest mover. 29 positions home in 20th. But yeah, the other one that stands out for me is Duran Nikora. He had an awesome drive there. Not sure how long he's been in the V8 Supercars, but it's the first time I've seen him running on any of our telecasts. So I think he's another big one. And yeah, well, you could give it to all of them, really, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, I think any of the guys inside that top 39 to still finish on the lead lap after all the carnage we saw, the 3 safety cars have done a great job. Obviously, a few are a little further down at about a minute back, but to still finish 39 cars out of 60 that we had on that lead lap is a great result.
Yeah, it certainly is. So we're still not getting any closer. Let's think about it while we have a chat with Dave Oliver. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go.
I reckon I'm going to give myself the drive of the night just so that I can have a chance of winning that great rig.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could all use a nice looking seat like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's bring Dave Oliver up. He came home. He was a fair ways down, I think, but we'll find out. Do you want to have a chat with him?
Yeah, we'll have a quick chat with Dave. G'day Dave, welcome to the RRTV commentary box. Maybe not the best result for you guys tonight. I see finishing 43rd, but give us a rundown on how the night's events went for you, mate.
Evening, guys. Yeah, not the greatest. Very character building night, you could say. So I think I started. I think it was about 25th-ish or 30th. It was just on the corner. Had a good good little opening bit, and then when that big crash at the start kind of stuffed me, I kind of was zigging and zagging and backed off and was zigging and zagging through, and yeah, then one of the I think it was one of the Mazda cars, sponsored cars, they arrived out of nowhere in front of me, sideways and backwards, and yeah, and then my motor was doing its good impression of a WRX meet with everyone vaping.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously we saw that carnage at the start. What was your sort of read? Maybe a few guys getting a little bit antsy at the beginning, or potentially just not giving each other enough room to get through?
Yeah, from where I was only a few cars back, so I was pretty much in that ground zero part of, right in front. So pretty much I'm just trying to stay alive, because there was just cars going everywhere. And I know that one of our sister team of Henry King, he saw it all unfolded in front of him, and he backed right out, and he said he was doing 60-70k, and he was just getting absolutely driven over from cars behind, just not backing out of it. So
yeah, certainly a bit disappointing. Obviously we see the Synergy cars and yourself normally pretty high up in the field. When you were able to get a bit of clear running, did you find much issue with tyres, or how the car sort of reacted with the heat being a little hotter than probably what most guys were expecting tonight?
To be honest, not really, because the car was smoking, I had to pit the first lap I could under safety car, so that was fast repair, tyres, fuel, and then I actually when the pits opened for everybody else that next lap, I actually dived back in again just to top up, just to try and use that as a bit of a strategy play, which did actually work. I think I jumped, could have been Greg Sharp in the pits, so I was maybe about a car length behind him coming into the pits, and he was right on my bumper as we came out, so it did work in a way. but pretty much it was like just as you're getting into that window of other guys starting to pit, where the strategy plays would be unfolding, they the second and now infamous safety car came out, where the iRacing pit bug decided to play its ugly head again.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's much of a race if we don't tend to get one of those infamous bugs. But obviously, moving forward now, everyone starts to turn their eyes to Road America, go into another endurance round. We always tend to see the Synergy cars go pretty well. Have you guys got much in store for that event?
That's next week, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, not too sure. We'll probably make a bit of a game plan, maybe next Friday night. It'll probably be maybe Wednesday, Thursday, to see how we're running with OSR and all that, and work on sets and stuff, use it on that. So personally, I'm not too sure if I'll be making it, because I'll be working at the Supercars round at Eastern Creek or City Motorsport Park. I'll be working there in a media capacity. So I'm not too sure if I make it, but I know that a lot of our other guys will most definitely be there. So.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there. If you are able to make the event, mate, by all means jump up in the box. And obviously, before we let you go, give us a shout out to some of the sponsors and some of the guys here with Synergy.
Yeah, first I'd like to thank my crew, because I had a bit of I'm not sure if you saw in the telecast, I had a bit of a testing accident before this round, and they managed to piece my car back together with some of my other teammates' panels and spare parts, so it very much looked like a Dulux car from the 90s. So that all the Wiggles decided to throw paint at the car, so it was very multicolored, so it was pretty cool, but in the end it got smashed up even more. So so thanks to to all our sponsors, and especially to Adam, he ran today, and also our alliance team of Henry and Mr. Carroll. So pretty much it was a night to forget, but we'll come back better and stronger and see how we go in the next handful of rounds.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you out on track. Hopefully, for the next event, the car will all be in the one matching colour scheme. But look, thanks very much for coming up tonight, mate, and we'll certainly look to see you out on track again next week.
No worries. Thanks for everything you guys have done tonight. Great work as always.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. It's always a pleasure calling a V8 Supercar race around Bathurst, that's for sure. And before we go to Pete Sattler, folks, just a quick shout out here to Scott Goodman. He sent in a picture of him watching our telecast on his screen. It looks like his lounge room, kicking back, enjoying himself. So, it's good to see him enjoying the Friday night of V8 Supercars here on RRTV.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's good to see it, not just to the guys maybe sitting back helping the team get through. A few of the guys putting it on the TV as well. There's always a good bit of entertainment, a few beers and a few pies, and pretty relaxing Friday night, I think.
Certainly is. I'd like a beer and a pie. Oh, we don't get them here, do we? I forgot.
No, you just get the caviar and the champagne, don't you?
No, that's all gone now. We don't get any of that stuff anymore. Scott Stevens took all that and they never topped it up again. But anyway, let's go to Pete Sattler and we'll have a chat with him. Hi Pete, welcome to the RRTV Combox. You've had a bit of time to cool down after that race, and notice you came home around about 38th position, so it looks very action-packed through the back there.
Yeah, it was. And, I actually lost a lot of position on the last lap. I would have finished probably P17, I reckon. No, sorry, P18.
Okay, what happened?
Braden Bateman thought it'd be a great idea to shove it up the inside at turn 2 with barely a gap, and he hit me in the rear tyre. So round I went and I let the whole field go through.
Wow, that's not very good, is it? that's all I've got to say. What else can I say after that? But yeah, a big thanks to you for letting us jump into your car during the safety cars and having a chat with us. I really appreciate that.
That's alright. Anytime at all. Anytime at all, mate. No problem.
Awesome. Well, Daniel's the interview expert, so I don't really have much because I'm half asleep, but I'll put the pressure on Daniel to see if he can come up with anything, any decent questions.
Well, it's plenty to talk about.
No, look, I don't have a lot, Pete. Obviously, we had a couple of additional safety cars tonight. Maybe some of the guys not overly expecting that. Did you manage to get any benefit to those at all, or did it sort of get you a little off rhythm?
Definitely off rhythm because I don't know how much you know about what happened, but the on the second safety car, the light didn't actually go green. Well, for me, and I was in the teens, didn't go green for me till half that mountain straight. So the leaders were probably at the king or a bit further up.
Yeah, I heard there was a little bit of the infamous pit exit issue that affected, I think it was Riley Blythe, when he was getting out of the lane and gave him a drop down the running order. I presume that's possibly something that's caused your issues as well?
No, mine. I was fine. Just, yeah, what happened was, I think he came out the pits and they were closed, so I think he wait for it to open. So there's a sign. It says in front of your face the pits are closed most of the time. I don't know. In Riley's case, maybe it was different. That safety car, the light had gone green, but to racing, the black flags for taking, and wanting cleared. And yeah, it was an admin nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a lot of stuff's got to be done on the fly for those ones, but I guess now the team set the eyes on Road America. Is there a big setup changes potentially in the works for that, or guys just get in and do a bit of laps?
I'm not going to be here, mate, for the next 2 weeks, so I don't know.
I feel like. Well, look, mate, thank you again. As Bernie mentioned, really appreciate the chance to jump in the car while obviously we had the safety car out. Before we let you get out of here and get back to the boys and finish the discussions in the server, have you got a quick shout out for the sponsors?
Yeah, as always, thanks to Pagnan Advanced Simulation, Leading Edge Computers, Next Level Racing, and RRTV. Thank you for all your support.
Fantastic, and we also want to give a big thanks to Pugnian here for providing this F1 GT Formula 1 and GT simulator valued at $699, which will go to one of the drivers competing in this fantastic series. So Pete, if you see the blokes there from Pugnian, thank them for us, and it's such a big prize for these guys to be competing for.
Yeah, that's right. The best thing about it is that the winner doesn't get it. So you get entries with races you get. It could go to anyone.
Exactly right. I really like the way that competition's structured and the way you get all the bonus entries. Of course, we've got to work out how we're going to give Drive of the Night tonight, which is a big one because whoever we pick, I think they get 2 entries into the competition.
Right, okay. That's going to be a hard one. Good luck with that.
Oh, it's pretty easy, really. If you slip us a 20, we can say you're the driver of the night.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Anyway, Pete, thanks for popping in. Thanks also for letting us cross live to you during the race. And, of course, thanks to your sponsors.
No worries at all. Cheers.
So our final interview for the night is Josh Burden, and I'm just seeing where Josh finished. He had a really good run. Where did Josh finish?
Yeah, so Josh actually rounded out our top 10 tonight. Finished in 10th, started 14th, so made his way up a little bit. I know there was a few issues at the very beginning for that car, so no, it's good to have Josh up here.
Yeah, welcome Josh to the Combox for a bit of an interview here. We noticed you're up 4 positions, had a really good run there and a good result by the looks of it.
Yeah, I thought I'd have a run tonight. Been a while since I've had a run in the V8, so Thought I'd get it back out, and kind of didn't qualify too bad, and I made a mistake, and luckily I had a quick repair. It was just enough time to pit in the window, so that was alright. And then the last couple of safety cars there were a bit, I think especially the last one didn't really help a few people with a few penalties getting handed out and that sort of stuff, but well, apart from that, I think the race went pretty smoothly and I really enjoyed it.
It was definitely an action-packed race. We had a lot of carnage going on through the field. Did you manage to steer clear of a lot of that?
Yeah, for the most part. I was involved in a bit of an incident at cutting on about lap 5, which I believe you may have got on a broadcast. But apart from that, it was all pretty clean racing from where I seen it. It's good to see a track like Bathurst clean racing, but there's always going to be a big crash somewhere with a big field like this.
Yeah, we weren't expecting to get one lap in, and we were right. It all went to hell at Hell Corner, of course, and probably a third of the field ploughed into each other through there, which brought out the first safety car. But once that got out of the way, it sort of calmed down for a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think being such a kind of actually turned into a short race with all the safety cars. I think people were just trying to get their moves done pretty quickly. There was probably 10 laps under safety car, so that only turned it into a 14-lap race. So yeah, people were probably trying to get them done pretty quickly, and there's not many spots you can really pass around Bathurst because you're obviously over the top. You can't do anything. So a lot of people were working on getting that run down Conrod Straight or up Mountain Straight. Just in the pastime there.
Yeah, that's where they were definitely making it. We saw Dane try to go on the outside of Marlin up at the end of Mountain Straight there, and they went too wide into there and somehow kept it off the wall and kept it off each other. But I'm going to hand you over to Daniel Leet here, and he might have a few more questions for you.
Yeah, g'day Josh. Mate, great to see you back out in the car. Obviously, as you mentioned, been a while. How did Scotty finish up? I think he was the car from the FSR stable that was out here tonight.
Yeah, he was out there tonight. He normally runs in this series, I believe. He was having a bit of a struggle tonight. A couple of things with his rig, I believe. He was trying to fix on the fly, and that kind of hampered him a little bit. But he just kind of couldn't get the flow going tonight. But Scotty, he's really enjoying getting back in the V8 in this series. Kind of nice and relaxed compared to some of the other big name series out there. So he's just really enjoying that.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you guys find the car setup and the tyres went throughout this race? I think we heard from a few guys earlier on that were sort of mentioning it was maybe a little hard to pick the pressures. Did you guys run into any sort of issues like that at all?
Not really. We weren't doing kind of long stints, so I can see where people were maybe starting their pressures a little bit higher than normal, because we're kind of only doing like a 10-lap stint in there. So with all the safety cars, kind of the tyres got a good opportunity, I found, to cool out, and actually done the fastest lap of the race after the last safety cars. So I didn't personally have a problem with any tyre wear.
Very good to know. Well, I think everyone's now going to start getting ready for Road America. Are we likely to see you back out on track for that one again, mate?
Yeah, don't mind Road America. I'll just see time permitting, obviously, as usual. But if I've got time and enough time to practice, I'll come back out at Road America.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to see you back in the car again, mate. It's been a while since I've run with you since the old Factor days, but no, very good to see you out. And before we let you go, give us a shout out to the sponsors for FSR.
Yeah, no worries. Just once again, everyone at FSR for all their help, and like to thank our sponsors, Drifting Paint Graphics, Eclipse Signage, and Dynamic Sim Racing, for all their support. And also just a shout out to Bernie for doing all the broadcasts, and make sure you chuck him over a couple of bucks on your GoFundMe page for his new rig. But, yeah, greatly appreciated, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely would be. Even 50 cents is always greatly appreciated. So, no, as I was saying during the broadcast, I really appreciate all the support the iRacing community showing us this week. It's been fantastic. All right, Josh, well, thanks for coming in for a chat. It's always a pleasure having you up here, but we're at the serious end of the business now, Daniel, and that is we've got a pick drive of the night.
God, you really still got me on the spot. I'm still a little undecided for that. I think I don't know. Is that a bad one? I might have to sleep on it. I'm really not too sure. Like, I want to go with Dane. Obviously, we saw him have those issues where he got tangled up a bit with Marlon, and to sort of overcome that and finish still in second. A second from first in second position. It's a hell of a drive. So I think probably for the end of this one, I'd probably give it to Dane just on that alone. His speed and consistency before and after that incident was very impressive. So I think for this one, Dane Warren is probably the pick.
Okay, well, of course, I'll just agree with you because that's fine. I was going to say Mark Samuels for the biggest mover in the race. He wasn't up the front at the pointy end, but he did jump up 29 positions. Another one we missed was Thomas McMillan. He was saying he had a bit of an incident lap 5 and dropped to 54th position, worked his way back up to 21st. So big shout out to him. But let's give it to Dane. Dane had a very consistent run. He had a very hard comeback run, and he took it to him. So let's give it to Dane Warren tonight.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I'm sure Nick will update the points to allow for that. So well done to Dane for that one, and obviously getting a second in tonight's event.
Yeah, it was definitely a great race, that's for sure. It was entertaining to call it. Hopefully all the viewers enjoyed it as well. And looking ahead on RRTV, folks, tomorrow night, if you want to come back and join us, 10 p.m, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I think, Daniel, you'll be back with us, and we'll be doing the Sim Racing Asia Pacific GTE Championship. And the guys that win that get a drive in a Caterham.
Yeah, so it goes from one fantastic prize here to an awesome prize again with Sim Races Asia. And I think we're starting to see now a lot of backing from companies that really want to help promote this. And for the guys that run Sim Races Asia, which, I mean, I had the privilege of running that a couple of seasons ago. I think SRX were the sponsors for that one and gave out some very nice button boxes for some of the guys. And to see them get a run in the Caterham, that's pretty impressive now, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think this is the second year that they've had that opportunity to go and have a run in that car. And I tell you what, if you're a sim racer and you get a chance to win a drive in one of those little beauties, you'd definitely be very happy.
Yeah, no, I think you'd find it very hard to say no to something like that. I'm sure there are plenty of guys, whether they say it openly or not, probably have a bit of a crush on having a run in one of them.
Yeah, I'd say so. So join us tomorrow night, 10 p.m, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, folks. If you're watching it on iRacing Live, it will be broadcast there as well. And it's awesome racing. We had, like, Zolder that time, I think it was Zolder, we had a huge turnout of cars, and it was 60 cars, I think, turned up for that, which was absolutely awesome. So it's going to be on again tomorrow night, Ferrari versus Ford.
Yeah, it's look, they get a great showing there. There's a lot of interest from some overseas guys. We have a lot of Aussies that run in that. A few of the teams that have turned up tonight with like Kiani and Evolution Racing turn up there. I know some of the guys from my team, the Stealth Sim Sports guys, are there. So no, look, it's great to see the Aussies and the internationals being able to run at a pretty friendly time slot with a lot of the Asian teams.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's on tomorrow night, folks. But until then, we've pretty much got to the end of our broadcast here, Daniel. I think we survived it fairly well. And to me, it seems like you haven't been gone at all. You just sort of slotted straight back into the groove in the commentator's seat there and called it like the pro you are.
Thanks, mate. It's no, look, it helps to be back with yourself and having the points and references on where to look. So, look, must be said, thank you very much to yourself, and still to the guys watching. If you haven't yet or are interested, jump into the GoFundMe page that Bertie has set up for RRTV to help bring better and bigger broadcasts in the near future.
Yeah, and the link's right on the screen there. So, folks, until then, have a fantastic Friday night. Even better Saturday. Come back, kick up your heels tomorrow night and join us if you're not out in the town and see some great racing. But until then, folks, thanks for tuning in. On behalf of Daniel Lead, I'm Bernie Weemers. It's been a pleasure calling this race, and we hope you've enjoyed our telecast. So, good night.